hohen himmlischen ein Heiligtum, deine Zauber binden wieder.
Difficulty, being an element of games, must be in harmony with every other aspect, and cohesion is of crucial importance in game design, especially from a gameplay perspective. To put it simply, design philosophies will differ depending on how a game proposes challenge, with two aspects like hitbox sizes and movement speed marking the difference between an entry point to a genre and a Herculean task catering to only the most dedicated. Or game over systems, setting aside games meant to be replayed and mastered from games that put some focus on linear narrative and its pace. That's why I'm not a big fan of difficulty settings that reduce their functionality to multiplying damage and such, especially when the developers make sure to let you know in which mode you can find the real experience. If you went through the trouble of fine-tuning level design, controls, enemy placement, boss fights, etc., and came out the other way of that balancing act, proud of what you did, I would hope that changing the level of challenge, in any shape or form, meant the ramifications for the end product. Now, some would argue that I'm failing to take into account player skill, and that, for example, I gain the same satisfaction from beating Grace Counter with infinite credits than this guy does from doing it with only one and on the hardest difficulty. Admittedly, that may hold some water in some cases. One of those could be Mario. The Lost levels take the elements from the first entry and remix them to be the same but harder, allowing players to gravitate towards the one that fits them best. However, Mario can lend itself to this variation because, even from its beginnings, the concept is very general, a vanilla flavor, so to speak. The same can't be said of a game like, I don't know, Ninja Gaiden. This is a game that you will not beat on your first try. The levels of practice and knowledge required to overcome a full stage don't give any chances to a beginner. As bullshit as that absolutely is, if we break everything down, we'll find one of the most well put together games in the NES library. Ninja Gaiden is about, well, being a ninja. And although that might not be the most complex theme, the developers in Tecmo went to town with it. You are a ninja, and you're going to play like one. This turns every stage into a quest to master execution. The level of precision the controls give you is one you learn to thank, given that every little mistake can be paid severely. After a hit, you're likely going to end up falling to your death. Even if you survive, your timing is ruined now, and the respawning enemies make it hard to return to a good position. So you're pretty much forced to keep moving forward all the time. Compare this to Kirby's Adventure on the same console, where movement is softer and way more floaty, where platforming isn't as demanding and you have an ice cream parlor of options to choose and you can afford to make that choice by liking. Not to mention that, well, you know. This doesn't make Kirby's Adventure worse or Ninja Gaiden better, but it does show a different purpose tied to every mechanic. As we all know, the pink block came about specifically to cater to kids that couldn't make it inside the Ninja Gaiden side of town, where Battletoads and Ghosts and Goblins trade together while Mega Man waits for his turn to play. Enjoyment in Kirby can stem from the colorfulness of the world or finding a power that you really like. After all, you're pretty much there to enjoy the view. The same way, it wouldn't make sense for Kirby games to require its players to do tight jumps, needing specific power-ups. Trying to adapt the essential Kirby philosophy to Ninja Gaiden would distort what it is at its core. And not just Kirby's. The same would happen with Mario's design philosophy, or Mega Man's. That's because the ultimate goal, the moments of higher pleasure in Ninja Gaiden comes when you finally put all together, jumping through a stage with surgical precision knowing exactly where you have to be at any given point and taking out enemies before they can see what hit them, like a ninja would. And every mechanic that is implemented in the game and in the level design points toward that singular goal. The interactive aspect of video games is what sets them apart from every other art form, and in order to push forward the evolution of the medium, developers cannot overlook the importance of difficulty and how it can encompass the overarching meaning of the game. While it is true some of the most important works in gaming offer a selectable level of difficulty, I also look at getting over it, the embodiment of challenge for the sake of challenge, or at Stardew Valley, a utopic view of peaceful, ordinary life, and I become aware of how vastly challenge can be explored and how little ground we've covered so far.